three people I want to talk about, and then generally I'll go to the book Upon Our Ruins and talk about it and the process of research and writing with John Strange. And then third, I want to talk about some of the publication, pre-publication, publication process. And then finally, if I have time this morning, I want to talk about a little bit about some particular chapter contents and some particular records that are in this book. As Jeff has mentioned, this is the third Cherokee book that I've written in the past 20 years. Together, the three constitute something over 2,000 pages of history and genealogy. The Cherokee Planters in Georgia book that he mentioned came out in 1990. It's in the 5th printing now. For those of you who may not know, I publish and market the books as well, nationwide. And the Cherokee Planters book has been a perennial seller. And the Unhallowed Intrusion book, which followed in 1993, is a history of the Cherokee families of this county, which is now in a third or fourth printing. And I have all of those books in for sale today if anyone's interested in getting a copy. John Strange, his name is on this book. I've known John about 35 years. He started as a very young man doing Cherokee research. He lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's very knowledgeable. He spent a lot of time in Dr. Emmy Starr's published and unpublished notes, and talking, when he started, talking with many people who were the oldest living links to particular Cherokee family lines. So he has, as I said, about 35 years of research files. One area of expertise for John is he focuses a great deal on the colonial period and those white men who came in, military personnel and traders, and lived among the Cherokees and married with the Cherokees and raised mixed blood children. This, I say, colonial period, and also during the Revolutionary War years. So, John and I have never met. We've corresponded and talked on the phone for many, many years. Over the past 8 years or so, we've spent probably 2,000 hours or more on the telephone in conversations in trying to get some of these things resolved about these particular families that are dealt with. I'll mention this again some more later too. The second person I want to mention is Joan Hill. She is an artist in Muskogee, Oklahoma. She's an internationally recognized artist. I met her about 20 years ago after learning in 1993 when the Unhallowed Intrusion book came out on this county's Cherokees and Indian countrymen, that she was descended from the Rogers family and the Collins family of this county. She has sent me copies of her artwork over the years, and in coming down to the final stages and trying to determine what to use for a frontispiece in this book, I'd gone through a lot of photos and couldn't find one I really wanted to use, and that I felt was really appropriate. And so I contacted Joan, and she had sent me a piece of artwork, and it's called A House Divided, A Nation Divided, which illustrates the division that existed in the Cherokee Nation among the people leading up to the Treaty of 1835 and after the Treaty of 1835 as well. So this is the illustration that you find opposite the title page. Another person I want to mention is Moses Price. Moses Price is on the cover of the book. This is another decision. John and I talked about it for a year and trying to determine exactly what photo or whose photo we would use on the front of the book. And I couldn't quite get it resolved until the last stages, and finally determined then that Moses Price would be the one. Moses Price was a half-blood Cherokee. His father was a Welshman, his mother was a Cherokee in Tennessee. And he and a small group of Cherokees went to England in 1791 to get an audience with King George III. And they were there 2 to 3 months. And during that time, Moses Price's portrait was painted, which is in a London museum now. And through John, who knew the individual who was a librarian there, we worked out an arrangement where we could get permission to get a copy of the portrait and also to use the portrait in this publication. The other thing that I want to talk about generally about the book, John and I spent about 8 years on it. Of course, his files and my files go back, mine go back about 40-something years, and I rely on those as well as correspondence with people. And also, I relied on, of course, John relied on his files, his extensive files as well. And as I said, we would spend, he would call me at least once a week about midnight, and we would talk about 4 hours then, about 4 in the morning. And this happened on a weekly basis then for about 8 years in getting these people certain conflicts resolved and putting together certain information on these families. In the process, as the book continued to grow, I saw a couple of years ago that it was going to be in excess of 800 pages, not even counting an index and photo pages. So little by little I had to start from time to time in cutting out chapter materials on families, and then a lot of the appendices or records that I had set up, especially Eastern Cherokee rolls that I had annotated, I cut a number of those out. I didn't want to, and John and I would discuss it, and he would say, "No, Don, you can't take that out. No, that's got to be in there, Don." And I say, "Well, John, you know, I keep repeating these page numbers, and I say, this is how many pages we're dealing with without an index and without the photos, which I estimated would be about 130 pages added on." And then again, another one would come up, and then after so many months, it would grow, and it would be up close to 700 pages, and again, allowing about 130 additional pages for these photos and index. I'd say, "I'm going to have to take this out of the appendices." John, "No, you can't take that out, Mom. You know, you can't." So we would debate this over and over about what could be taken out, what couldn't be taken out. Finally narrowed it down with the appendices that certain things that we did take out of it, certain records. Other things that that are in there now came down to, I told him, were absolutely essential to have in there. The book has, basically, I'm running through it, it has 27 chapters. Each chapter has endnotes, and altogether there are 2,700 endnotes in the book. It has an extensive bibliography